Come correct or don't come at all.
This is the Hartzog Hustle Podcast.
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed.
And we're talking about the hustle, strategy, and mindset you need to win in the areas of your finance, your purpose, and your future.
Know what I'm saying?
If you have heart and you want to learn how to activate the power of your hustle, then this is the podcast for you, baby.
Congratulations.
And now, your hosts, Anthony and Jhanilka Hartzog.
This is how it should be done.
Hello, everyone. We are back. Oh, this is usually what you say. Do I say that? We're back for another episode of Hartzog Hustle Podcast. Thank you for joining us.
We appreciate you guys being here as always. Before we get started, please, as always, like, subscribe, share, and most importantly, rate this podcast on your favorite player.
Comment.
It helps us reach more people, helps us teach more people, helps us create more impact. And that's the one thing you could do to help us out. Just like
That's free.
That's actually free. You know, when they be like, yo, support your friends, and you like, yo, I want to buy what you got. If you're listening, you can rate this podcast right now before we get started. And our goal of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast is to help you create more impact, influence, and income outside your jobs. And so it's funny because we were starting to record this podcast a couple of minutes ago, and the micro card was not in the actual recorder. So we would have recorded this whole episode.
Think of it as a SIM card.
A SIM card.
Because if I'd be like, what is a micro card?
We would have recorded this whole episode without a SIM card in it, and there would have been no audio. We would have had the video, but there would have been no audio. So,
a video that they wouldn't be able to hear through the video either?
no, because we recorded in two separate files.
Oh, my
So when you watch this on YouTube, we sync the audio and the video. It's a whole production that goes into creating a podcast, and I don't think people realize that. But
I don't know how to do it.
because I realized that video and audio are two distinct qualities. I thought if you record like on your phone, when you record, it's like, oh, you get the audio and video at the same time. But when you try to like do high quality, they normally sync the audio and video. And the reason you do that is because you're not going to get the best quality audio from
A video.
the video.
Okay.
So that's why
It's
we
a lot
sync both
of moving parts.
We didn't know. I didn't know this before we get started. So that's the importance of sometimes just jumping in and figuring things out. So the card wasn't in there, and Jhanilka was like, "Hey, isn't that supposed to be red?"
I
She had
noticed
no
something
idea, but
different.
she's
I had no idea the card wasn't in there, but I noticed a different color on the system that we use. I'm like, isn't it usually red? Did you change the color? And that triggered him to be like, wait a minute. We didn't start recording. We had just clicked record. So thankfully, we didn't waste any time there.
Man, I hear so many horror stories about people who just like they do a whole episode and the video wasn't on, or hopefully we never experience that.
Hopefully you never experienced
Because
it.
there's
but I
no
feel
way
like
I'm
it
going
might
back and
happen.
recording. I'm not recording another episode again like that where we got to go back and actually do
Maybe
the
you just
topic
put the
again.
captions.
What?
Oh, but you can't hear. So what
No.
captions?
I'm gonna hear.
No, you hire somebody on Fiverr to do the captions.
What do you mean? Without audio?
Yeah, they could be someone that reads lips.
No, it'd be a silent video. That wouldn't even make any sense. But again, appreciate you guys being here. And before we get started,
What happened?
I thought you had a topic.
Oh, no. So, you mean before our little chat that we have before we get into the topic generally. I realized, let me retract. We're preparing for a trip, so I went to get my nails and hair done back to back, 2 days back to back. And then I didn't realize it until Tony pointed it out that both times I was basically coaching I'm about to say nail salon.
The business
Coaching
owners.
The business owners, basically. The nails person, this is the first time that I went to her. I heard about her through somebody on social media, and I decided to try her out. And everything went well. But the whole time we were just having a conversation about entrepreneurship, how it's been, how it's not, what's working, what's not working. I'm telling her what she can do, what she can't do. It was a good conversation. And she did a great job on my nails, so I'm excited with that. And then the next day, the lady that does my hair, I've been to her maybe 5-6 times, so this is not somebody new. And we always have good conversation. I actually probably will bring her on the podcast one day. We always have good conversation, and she was just saying that she needs someone, which Tony says a lot, she needs someone to help her execute all the ideas that she has. She's like, I write it down all the time. I write everything down, but I need someone to help me execute. She wants to do mentorship. She wants to do all these other things. And I was just encouraging her, telling her the things that she should do now, where she should start. And she's like, it's just crazy because there's people that I spoke to about this, and they were like, oh, I don't think you should do that. Or they were just saying they don't think that she could make it doing what the plans that she wants to do. She's like, you're just so confident about it. Like, I'm like, yeah, maybe because it's a different ball game like I think differently now. It hasn't always been that way. So Tony made a joke of, what did you say? If I'm going to start, what did you say? I'm going to start woman empowerment? Or what
the woman empowerment's brunch.
Brunch.
You know that'd be the wave, so.
Yeah, no. But basically you were just saying like, so are you going to go on to like do business consultations? That's essentially what it was, consultations for women now. And I'm like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. However, it was just interesting that was the conversations, and you forget, because some of the things I was telling them, it feels like a no-brainer to us because of where we are, right? But you forget some people have no idea about some of the stuff that we do or understanding about anything. And some things I was telling them, they're like, really? I should do that? You think so? And I'm like, duh. I think it's like, obviously you should do it, but not in a negative way, putting them down, but it's something that I would think of right away, but it's something they never heard of. So I think you kind of forget that sometimes. And I know we say, when you're sometimes making a product or doing anything, just getting people to where you are can be enough for a lot of people. So
I think that's a fantastic idea if you just did coaching, because women want that, and I think everyone wants that, but I think women in particular, they want to be around like-minded people, and most people in business spaces are men. Essentially, entrepreneurs are men, and I know over the last couple of years, women has like I forgot what the percentage was, but women in entrepreneurship has grown tremendously.
I was about to say, I see a lot of women.
Yeah, women in entrepreneurship has grown tremendously, and they just want to be around like-minded individuals. So things that may seem like common sense to us at year 5, and we've done multiple businesses. If let's say we've only cleaned houses, we will only know about that business. Yeah. We've done multiple business. We've been around multiple people in different groups, different ranges of income, from 6 figures to 7 figures to multi-7 figures. And it changes the game when you get around those different individuals, and it changes your mindset. It changes what you feel like is possible. So I think it would be amazing if you did something like that on your own. Yeah. Are you going to do it?
No, probably not. Not right now. I'm not saying never in life. I never say never. But that's my mother calling to see a lot.
You should have brought her into the podcast
and showed her. No, I would say not. I won't say never, just not right now. You would say, why not right now? I don't got to answer, so don't ask it.
Yeah, sometimes it may not make sense right now, so you may get to another conversation. Someone may persuade you to do it. So yeah, it might not be right. Doesn't mean it's not ever. Just
just not right now. We'll see.
So I thought that was exciting.
Yeah, it was good. It was a good conversation. It was so easy. I think that's what made it fun. It didn't feel like I was teaching. It just felt like a conversation, but I definitely was teaching. When I walked away, I'm like, oh, okay.
But sometimes those are the best conversations when you don't feel like you're actually doing the work, where it's just like it comes up natural to you, it comes up natural to them. And I don't think when we're talking to our business coaches, it feels like, oh my God, here they go again. It's kind of like,
it doesn't.
I'm just teaching, I'm just telling you what I know and what I think would work, and we have a back and forth conversation about it.
No, I agree.
Sometimes it's just about getting your ideas out there and seeing, how
is it possible, and the accountability and the confidence. Yeah, that's what I found that. Huh?
You talking mad close. You was like spitting on the mic. Be careful out here. Getting crazy.
What the? Crazy. That's what I found was like the core of the conversations, the accountability and the confidence. That the ideas and stuff that they had and want to implement.
So if you're a lady out there in a small business and you're looking to grow and scale your business, let Jhanilka know that you would love to have her as an accountability partner, as an accountability coach. Let us know in the comments. Let us know in the DMs.
I can also do another segment because I am a licensed therapist. So that's a different ballgame. But I would never do therapy with that because that's a conflict of interest. But I'm just thinking out loud.
That could be another business.
Yeah, bring some people
Hartzog
in.
Hustle is a whole brand. It's a whole entity.
I love it here.
Yeah.
Also, Alani was in a Ferrari. Just had to say that. That was exciting for her. She doesn't know that she's excited. Yeah. We were excited for her. We
were visiting. we were actually on another podcast, and we were in Atlanta, and we had lunch or dinner with our coaches, and that's another thing. Just getting around different people. So. We had a great conversation around dinner, business, family. We talked a lot about family, obviously. Having kids, not having kids, all that stuff. And we go outside, and there's a Ferrari sitting there.
Well, they first said that they couldn't drop us back home, like where we were staying in Atlanta. We're like, okay, cool, not a problem. So it's so funny. We both went outside, and I'm like, "Oh, is that your car over there?" Because the last time they had a truck.
So I want to. Can I tell this part?
Go ahead.
So I want you guys to visualize this. So you're looking at a car, and it's a luxury car. So it's whatever luxury car is right in front of you.
Noticed it. Yeah.
But you're looking at the car behind it.
Behind it.
No reason. There's no reason, rhyme or reason. You're just not even thinking that that's the car.
Yeah.
That you're like, if your friend pulled up and said, "Oh, that's my car," you see two cars, you just assume it's not the car in front of you. No reason, no rhyme or reason. You just assume it's not.
And I should have known because they said it didn't valet, and I'm like, okay, maybe they found a parking. So where I was looking was a parking spot essentially, and I'm like, oh, you're over there. Even though it was a truck, I was thinking maybe their trunk is full, whatever is full. That's why we can't fit in it because it's us two and Alani. It's a car seat, So I'm like, okay, and they're like, no, right here. I'm like, this.
And it's funny because we're both looking past. That's the thing about
that's
vision.
the weird thing.
That's the thing about vision is that we didn't have the vision to see the car in front of us.
No, we didn't. I don't think I was even looking at it.
That's a whole gem right there. We both didn't have the vision to realize that was a car that was right in front of us. We were looking past it and assuming that wasn't the car. Nope.
I don't even know that I keep trying to think back. Like, did I even see that Ferrari sitting there? I don't know if I did.
And I want to make it very clear. If you're looking at two cars, there's one in front of you and there's one
a little further
back. Away.
Maybe 3 yards back, 4 yards
There
back.
is no way to miss this car if you're looking in that direction, but both of us just chose not to see that car.
Yeah,
we looked past it, and there was no way you could see the car past it without looking at the car in front of it. So that's a mindset thing, right? That's a mindset shift that we had to make.
Like, okay, sorry. I didn't even. She's like, yeah, that's why I said you guys couldn't fit. I'm like, yeah, it could be a multitude of reasons, but yeah, you can't fit. It's just a 2-seater.
So this is how you expand your mindset because both of us did not.
And
see
you
that
rode
car.
in it, and how did it feel for you? You said you wanted to throw up.
I did want to throw up. It was like it felt like a roller coaster.
But why?
Because when roller coaster, I don't think it depends on the type of roller coaster you're on. So they
all have the sudden dropping
they
that I don't like.
No, it's not the drop. There's some roller coasters that start really fast.
Okay, and some
like the one I forgot what's the one in Six
Nitro?
Flags that Nitro doesn't start.
They
fast.
start slow. Okay.
It's one in Six Flags that goes straight up.
Oh, Superman.
No, it's not Superman either.
Batman.
Babe, all right.
Okay.
Annoying me. So there's one that goes really fast. It goes up and it comes back. And that's the whole ride. That's it.
Okay.
But whatever, you can't go that straight up without getting that speed.
Yeah.
And that car is like 0 to 60 acceleration immediately. So when you first start that roller coaster, you don't know that feeling of dropping down.
So you can't drive at 40?
You can, but that wasn't the point.
That wasn't the point of you getting in the car.
So in a roller coaster, you can't go straight up without getting acceleration. You know how a roller coaster you come down on acceleration?
Uh-huh.
That roller coaster, you go straight out and have the acceleration.
Uh-huh.
So you feel that pit of your stomach when you first start.
Okay.
So that's how it felt.
Yeah. Well.
So that was, and then I think the most important thing about that conversation was, he was like, "Yo, just think about what car you want and just start not
work backwards.
Not manifesting it, but just thinking about it, putting it in the atmosphere, and putting that goal out there. Because we talk about all the other goals that we want. You want the house, you want the travel, you want the kids, but the car is like, all right, well, I don't really think about the car.
Well, because you always say you're not a car guy. You're like, if whatever car, it is what it is. If I get a new car, I do, I don't. But some people really like cars. Like, that's their thing. So I think that's the difference as well. Like, if you really want it, you'll go after it, essentially. So you may say to yourself, well, maybe I don't want it that badly.
But it made me think about it. So it's like, what car do I want? So that was the thing. So
yeah, I know what car I want.
I thought it was a good conversation. I thought the car was really nice.
That was hilarious. That was great. And Lonnie got to ride in it and hang out and do her thing.
Yeah, so
just sit and smile.
That was on our Instagram page. That's on Instagram somewhere.
Yeah. Okay, why we're here today. There we go.
We're talking about money.
Because we did an episode on
saver versus spender.
Saver versus spender, which I told y'all I'm really hesitant about the terminology because I'm not a spender. And is spender negative? Not necessarily, but I just don't think I fall in that category. Either way.
So that conversation was really good. We just talked about the mentality, both of our mentalities around money, and we said that we should have an episode where we just talk about how we manage our money in a household and just give people some tips on how to better manage your money or how to manage your money.
How to manage your money. Yeah, not necessarily better. It's,
whatever you think is.
Yeah, it's up to you how you
different tips
that.
On how we manage our money and takeaways that you could have.
So we think there's a difference between when we manage our money when we're paying off.
Are you falling forward into the mic?
No, I'm sitting up.
You're falling forward. You sleeping?
I look like I'm sleeping?
No, you just keep falling forward towards the mic.
I guess I want to make sure that they can hear. All right, so if I put it here, this is better?
Babe, just... Yeah,
Wow.
you would think this is like the first episode we've ever recorded.
I know, but I don't think I've ever had this angle. Either way, so we feel like there's a bit of a difference between the way we manage our money while we were in debt versus when we got out of debt, right? And there should be a difference, essentially. If you didn't know, maybe you don't know, maybe you're new here. We started paying off our debt in 2017, and we paid off $114,000 of debt in 23 months by raising our income and side hustling. That's just a quick synopsis of us, but you can find a previous episode that we did at the beginning. We'll drop it in the show notes of us speaking about our debt-free journey. Okay. But the first thing that we did when it came to managing our money was, and we're going to talk about the debt part, and then we'll get into after we paid off the debt, was knowing our number. Mm-hmm. I think that helps us to manage our money because a lot of times we know we owe 30 to the car, 40 to the student loans, this, that, and the other, but we have no idea what the total number is. So once we put the total number together, it's like, damn, like that Kevin Hart
yes, a lot of
meme.
money.
It felt like, okay, that's a lot, but it helped us to then plan. You know how we say like work your way backwards. So if this is under 14, how much do we have to pay off monthly, weekly, daily, whatever that looks like? That helped us by knowing our number to start to change our mindset and start off that debt-free journey.
And sometimes you may not even know what your number is. So some ways you could do that is like we said, like pulling your credit card statements, pulling your bank statements, pulling like your student loan statements, finding out what that total number is. And sometimes you may have to go to creditors and find out, hey, how much I owe you.
Yeah, where's my other debts?
Yeah, you have to know those other, because a lot of us, there's some other debts out there. So you may have a old cell phone from college or an old credit card from college that you just forgot about. Or in college, if you're listening to this while you're in college, that you forgot about. So going and pulling that, maybe pulling your Equifax report, pulling your TransUnion report, pulling those reports and finding out what other debt you have outstanding.
Yeah, because a lot of people don't want to know it though.
Yeah.
They try to stay away. They try to stay away from that number. So knowing what that number is will be helpful for you to manage, for you to, decide how you're going to move about if you want to pay off debt, or even just if you want to start to pay something down. You're like, okay, I know I have $100,000 of debt. This year, I want to focus on paying off $20,000.
And put those numbers out there too. So if you're on YouTube, put your number in the comments. Don't be shy because we're not going to judge you.
I mean,
maybe a little bit of judgment, but not much.
Everybody, not everybody, but 90% of the world.
Yeah, if you're on Instagram, drop those numbers in our comments somewhere so that we could point you out and say, hey, attack those numbers.
Yeah. So after we found out what our number was, then we started to budget. Now, I think in a lot of podcasts or interviews we do, people always ask, like, what's one thing you would tell people to do? Budgeting. Budgeting is what we would tell people to do. I know people are like, well, the word budget has a negative connotation, so they don't want to do it. And they're like, I want to live a life that I don't have to budget. That's a lie. Because even the rich people are budgeting. How are they going to know how much they can spend? Everybody's budgeting, okay? How am I going to know how much I'm spending on marketing? How am I going to know how much I can spend here? Everybody is budgeting. And I think the other part of it is when we budget for everything. It's not just my utilities and bills. I'm budgeting for my Uber rides, my brunch, my restaurants, because I'm still doing those things. So it needs to be in your budget. Budgeting has changed the game for us. And that is one thing that we've actually continued to do, even paying off our debt. And if you can speak on maybe some budgeting apps people can use.
Yeah. So one app that we use is EveryDollar. There's a free and a paid version of this app. It goes on your phone. And the best thing about it is that it attaches to your debits. So if you got a bank card, if you got a credit card, your bank statements, all of that stuff, it attaches to it. So everything is auto-populated into the app. You could use Mint. That's another app that we're aware of. You could use You Need a Budget, YNAB, You Need a Budget. Those are three apps, but we recommend, and we use EveryDollar, and we've been using a paid version of it. It's like $10 to $12 a month. We've been using that for 5 years now. No issues.
Oh, yeah.
It auto-populates. And the best thing about the budget is the app itself, or not even the app, just in general, is that you could see your numbers every single day. So I'm going to actually go through some numbers. So, because people are like, oh, what the hell is a budget? So a budget is you telling yourself how you're going to spend your money. So how much you make, how much you spend, and how you allocate your money. So I got like our budget sitting here on this iPad that I'm looking at. And so what happened?
Yeah, I was going to say, you can do our budget, like, because that's after paying off debt. So you want to do this one? Like a
Yeah, I'm just
sample
giving an
one?
example.
Okay.
So let's say you earn $4,000 a month, right? So you're gonna say your income is $4,000. Now we need to know what your expenses are. So you're gonna write down every single expense you have. So this may mean you going through your bank statements. This may mean you going through your credit card statements. How do you spend your money? So you know your mortgage. Let's say it's $1,400. These are just some examples from not our budget. This is some examples. Mortgage, rent, HOA, $1,400. Groceries, $400. Gas, $100. And this is per month, $100 a month. Let's say your phone is $100. Utilities is $100. Clothing, let's say you spend $100. Dining out, you spend $200. Literally, I want that number of those expenses to add up to the number of income. So if you have $4,000 in income, I want $4,000 of expenses listed because you're probably spending all of your money. So even if you're saving or investing, I want that number inside your budget.
That should be part of your budget.
And that's a pretty much a zero-based budget. So that $4,000 of income, I want to see $4,000 of expenses, whether that's including your savings, investings, debits, everything. And that's a zero-based budget. So at the end of the month,
how we do it.
At the end of the month, your budget should say $0 left.
Meaning all your money was allocated to
A category.
A category, yeah.
Exactly. So for us, our housing is like 30%. On average, I say you should spend about 25% on housing. But listen, depends on where you live. It depends on your city, your state. We know New York is a lot more expensive.
And I don't know if I include, when we're doing the budget for housing, I include things like cable, utility, like the electric, gas, the lawn people, like maybe insurance. I include all that in housing. I don't know if when people are doing categories of housing with 25%, if they're including that. Probably cable is not in that. No. But those are some things that I include into that category, so it probably makes it a bit
and that's another thing. People don't think about the housing expense that is not just your mortgage or your rent. No. Every expense that you have in your house or apartment or whatever it is. So transportation, 6%, food, 8%, lifestyle. Our lifestyle and our miscellaneous are really high categories. Don't want to know why.
You want the answer now?
I want the lifestyle. This is very high percentage. Our lifestyle percentage is 27% of our income.
Is that for the month or is this an average that they've given?
This is just for the month. And that can change.
That fluctuates.
So another thing about the budget is that it's going to fluctuate. So you want an average. So it takes people on average about 3 months to understand your budget. So give yourself some grace when it comes to this. Don't just think you're going to get a budget day one, you're going to be set. Nah. Give yourself at least 3 to 4 months to all right, finally get this down packed and make sure you're reviewing these numbers every single week at a minimum.
Also, something else that we do is family conversations. Now, I think the rest of the things that we're going to talk about is what we set up while we were paying off debt and continue to do. So family conversations, what does that mean? So every week, we were doing it more frequently. We were paying off debt. Every week we were having money conversations, family conversations, checking the temperature with each other of how things are going. So at first it was just about money, and then it translated into how's work, how's our life, how's the relationship, things like that. And that conversation, we were speaking about how are we looking with the budget? It's halfway through the month. Are we overspending? Are we underspending? Are we going to look how much we may have left over? Those type of things will happen in that family conversation. What's coming up? Like, we have this extra money. We paid $3,000 towards debt, but should we put an extra $500, or Christmas is 3 months away? Should we put that $500 towards the gift account because we don't have enough money in there and we know we're going to need to buy gifts? So those are the conversations that we have in that family conversation. What's happening this month? We got to buy a baby shower gift, all those things, travel. Everything money related was happening in those family conversations, and we used to do that weekly. Now, not as often. We're trying to get back to it more. Now it's more like a monthly thing, which is still okay. The fact that we're still doing it, but we want to do it a bit more often because expenses are completely different. Now we have to talk about expenses with the business, not just our, family expense.
Yeah, and especially as we get closer to the holiday season, you want to allocate for those big expenses. So the gifts, you
about to
travel
get big,
a lot.
Child. It's about to be big. I'm saying it's a lot.
We gotta cut some of these people out too. Everybody.
Now you can't. You don't come. You gotta buy for the kids.
Everybody can't get a gift. Nah, it's old for that.
The kids, literally, it's just for the kids. Not necessarily. We buy for the adults as well. We buy for the adults.
Who said that? Michael Jordan F them kids.
Was it Michael Jordan that started that?
He probably didn't say that. It was probably just I can see Michael Jordan saying that.
I can see that too.
So Yes, as you get closer to the end of the year, you get to travel season, holiday season, so make sure you're allocating that in your budget. So
Those family conversations are important.
So another big thing we did was creating sub accounts.
Yeah.
So
What is that?
what is a sub account? A sub account is pretty much an account that you use. So you got your main account. Your main account may be a checking or a savings account. A sub account are smaller accounts under those accounts that allow you to allocate money differently. So for us, we had sub accounts for travel. We had sub accounts for a baby. We had sub accounts for potential businesses we were going to start. Sub accounts for saving, investing, so that it wasn't just all sitting in one pot. We could kind of allocate it. So some bank accounts that we recommend to do this are Capital One 360 is a good one to create sub accounts.
And
Ally is another good one.
It's an online bank.
These are online banks. These are banks that are great with technology. So
it's free to do. It's not
free to do.
Yeah, you just go into your
But
account.
the challenge with Capital One 360 and Ally is that there's no in-person banking.
Capital One has in person. What are you talking about?
Yeah, but before when it was Capital One 360, it was kind of like you got to go to a branch and they didn't really understand the online portion. But it's gotten a lot better.
Oh, okay. I didn't know.
Yeah, so those are online banks, but you could create sub-accounts with those, which we highly recommend.
Highly. It's been a game changer for us. An emergency fund. I think that people speak about that, but I feel like I haven't heard people speak about it enough lately. Either way, whatever you feel comfortable with, that's what I'm going to go on a limb and say, okay? Because people had said you need to have a 3-month emergency fund. We had went for 6 months because that was just what I was comfortable with. And then when the pandemic started, we went for 12 months. Now, emergency fund is really, if you fall on hard times or lose a job or lose income, you can be able to sustain with the money that's in there. So all of your expenses, say your expenses is $2,000 a month. I'm just going to say. So if you're doing 3 months, you'll have $6,000 sitting in an account ready to touch if you need it for an emergency. However, do I think that for 12 months I would not find a job or I won't be able to make any income? Absolutely not. But we, with the pandemic, when it first started, I had no idea what this thing was, what it meant, job, what it looks like. So that was just security for us. So I say, do what you feel is comfortable for you, minimum 3 months, but do what you feel is comfortable for you and your family with the emergency fund.
Yeah, and I say start with where you are. So a lot of people don't even have $1,000 in their bank account.
That's a stat that you can Google. Like, what is it, 75%, 80%? Some high number of people don't at least have $1,000.
So I would say at least have $1,000 in your bank account just on the side. Now, if that's easy to you, start out with the month. So if worst comes to worst, you got at least a month of expenses ready to go, and figure out what an emergency actually is to you. Does that mean you lose your job, or does that mean that you can't go on this trip and you pull it from your emergency fund?
Yeah,
we need you to get focused. So our emergency fund was anything outside of our expenses that we didn't plan for. That was an emergency. So we knew like the largest expense that we had during that time when we were trying to pay off the debt was my tires, and that was like $1,000. Unfortunately, the tires on my Infiniti like run flat, like race tires. So that was $1,000. But we planned for it, and we did. What now? Worst case scenario was that, and we didn't necessarily need that. That just came at the very end, and it was like, oh, it's time to change your tires. They're very low, dangerous. Like, all right, cool. We're at the end of paying off our budget, or paying off our debt, so that was the emergency for us. But figure out what an actual emergency means to you, and document that and write it down. So that means you lose your job, that means you can't afford food, whatever it is. Write it down and make that the goal. So at least $1,000, and then start from there, and then go up to like a month.
Yep.
So I want to talk about percentages. So this is not a hard or fast rule, but this is something that I feel like if you don't know, all right, your savings, or you don't know the emergency fund situation, the 50-30-20 rule is a big one. So 50% of your expenses go to needs.
Okay.
So what are your needs?
Mortgage.
Your roof.
A house and a roof. A roof over your head and feeding yourself.
Exactly. Roof over your head, feeding yourself, and
maybe
clothing.
Gas. If you need to get to work.
Yeah, that's a necessity.
If you need to get to work, you need gas, not a necessity.
You need gas.
Oh, need gas. Okay, so that's a need. Okay, I thought you were saying it wasn't.
That's a necessity. Argue with me for no reason. That's a necessity. So 50% of your expenses go to a need. So house, so your roof,
utilities,
clothing, and food. Those are necessities. 30% goes to your debt, your savings, your investment.
Okay.
20% goes to that's your
Wants. You play money. Blowing money fast. That's what we call it.
that's your blowing money
BMF.
fast account. So let's say you get $1,000 in your bank account, the $1,000 check today. You're gonna split that in 50, 30, and 20. So 50% of that check goes to your needs.
So $500.
$500 goes to your needs. 30% of that check goes to your savings, your investment, your retirement.
Yeah.
That's 30%. So that's $300.
$300. Mm-hmm.
$200 is going to you want to buy that new bag, you want to buy some new shoes or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's your play
restaurant.
money.
That's kind of low.
It depends.
Oh, because we're doing $1,000 a month.
I'm just saying 1,000. So if you got 5,000, 10,000, whatever that may be. So that's not a hard rule, but that's a good safe number. 50% goes to your needs, 30% goes to your investments in your future, and 20% goes to your wants.
That's a good rule. That's a good rule to try out if you don't know where to start.
Yeah, so 50, 30, 20 rule, that's a good safe one if you want to roll with that. And I highly recommend it to kind of get you there.
And the way that we kind of do it with how we're doing things now is getting paid from the business. And we each get paid from the business, especially Tony, since especially Tony, since he started getting
money pays me.
Yes, he started getting paid from the business, and then also we still have my 9-to-5 income, so that helps us tremendously as well. So when we both had a 9-to-5. And we both had a 9-to-5. We didn't even think about getting paid from the business because we have the 9-to-5. But obviously now that he's working for the business, then he starts to get paid from that. And so we make the money work based off of that income that we're getting from the business and my 9-to-5 that I still have.
Yeah.
So, and we get paid basically twice a month, just like any 9-to-5, if that makes sense. Get paid twice a month and you make it work with what you have.
Now, if you say that money is too low, what the hell do you do?
Make more money.
Exactly. Raising your income. You make more money.
Raise their income.
And if you decide, like, listen, that 30, 50, 30, 20 rule is too low. I need more. I mean, let's say the $1,000 is too low for you. And that's all you have. You got to think about different ways to raise your income. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things that we said. We was like, listen, we still want to travel. We still want to have a good time. And even today is like, how can we continue to raise our income so that we don't have to necessarily impact our lifestyle?
Right.
So that may mean, when we first started, it's different than what we do now because we used to make money with our time. So it's like, all right, well, we're going to pick up a job. We're going to watch dogs. We're going to put our cars on Turo. You're going to pick up you were doing more therapy. Mm-hmm. So those are things we did to raise our income. So that may not necessarily be the same for you. So you have to figure out different ways to raise your income so that your lifestyle isn't as impacted as you would like it to be as you're getting your finances in order.
Right. But another game changer that I know I've heard people say I'm not that grown to do that is automating your bills. Every bill is automated except for our cell phone bill,
which I hate.
Because we on a plan with multiple people and you have to go on, and the numbers change, whatever. But everything is automatic. So our mortgage is automatic. The cable is automatic. The safety, the ADT, what else is there?
Oh, the water's not automatic.
The water's not automatic because you gotta do a specific thing to make it automatic. I don't know what they asking for.
The city of Dallas makes you do an ACH payment, which means you gotta send a voided check. You gotta get an authorization.
And we just haven't done it.
You got to do a lot of, and I'm like, listen, it's 2022. Why do I still got to send you a voided check?
Gas is automated. Electricity is automated. Literally everything that we can have automated is, okay? Let's be clear, is automated. The paying the church, our tithes is automated. So automating your expenses really is a game changer. This way you don't forget. You're like, oh, I got to pay this. And it's the same thing as you paying it. I get it. People say it's a mental thing and they say like, I'm not adult enough to do that, but just try it. Try it with one thing. Try it with one thing, maybe. And see how it goes. And you can go from there. I'm telling you, I feel like it's a game changer. You don't have to think about it. It just goes.
So you said a key thing. You said try with one thing. So once you realize that one thing is working, you know what you do? You go to the next
second thing.
You go to the next bill.
Yeah.
You go to
Start with the lower bill if that's easier as well.
And you start automating those. So another thing that I didn't realize that you could do, or that I didn't realize that we needed to do, was you don't want all your bills hitting at one time either. So
Oh,
you can
child,
actually change
that's
your
happening.
due date on these bills. So we didn't want to have all of our
On the
bills
1st
being,
or the 15th.
the 1st or the 15th.
Let's
Like,
get a little 18th in there. Let's
Yeah.
make for a check to clear.
so sometimes those checks don't clear automatically, especially when you're in the entrepreneurship space. So you want to make sure that those bills don't hit all at the same time. So you could change your due date on your bills that better accompany your lifestyle, the better accompany the way that you get paid, the better way to get your, if you send out invoices, you know, your invoices aren't going to be paid for a week at a time. Like we know that the rent check is not going to clear for 2 weeks. So we know the mortgage is not going to get taken out for 2 weeks. So changing your due date on your bills is another game changer.
That is
So
definitely.
starting with one bill to automate that and then kind of moving on, starting with the smallest bill and then also changing your due date so it doesn't all hit at once.
Yeah, that would be very
Those are
helpful.
some game changers.
And I think the other thing with managing your money is talking about it, right? So for us, for married people, the number one reason for divorce is money. Whatever's happening, I don't know. They're not talking about it. Somebody's making more. I don't know what's happening, but talking about it, having someone holding you accountable, I think is helpful. You know, we all come from, which you have an episode about on that too. Like we all come from different places, so we have a different connection to money, if that makes sense. We have different feelings about money, different attachments about money. So that's okay, but having those conversations and understanding maybe where your significant other is coming from, a friend, a spouse, whatever that looks like, would help you to then maybe compromise or understand how you guys go about talking about your money, growing your money, paying off your debt, all those things. Like if someone is like, well, I want to invest, I don't want to pay off debt. Maybe can we compromise that we put some towards debt, some towards investment? What percentage are we going to put towards that? Percentage of what? Percentage of my salary, percentage of our salary. So all of those type of conversations and talking about it, I think makes a difference. And then the more you talk about something, the easier it feels, more comfortable it feels.
Yeah, when we first started those, and then let's say if somebody listening to this doesn't have that spouse, you go talk about money with family members, especially the ones that you feel comfortable with. Yeah. And it may seem awkward at first. So I would say, you know, get with somebody who feels comfortable with talking about money. If you don't have anyone that feels comfortable talking about money, start the conversation with them and find out if they'd be interested in helping you along your journey. Getting that accountability partner so that now you may not have the spouse, but now you got an accountability partner to talk about money every single week, and you guys can hold each other accountable to your goals, especially if you don't have that spouse or that relationship, whatever it may be. Now you got somebody from the outside looking in, and they may be more critical of you now because they don't have any ties to your money. So they may say, girl or dude or bro, you wilding right now. So now you got somebody that's from the outside looking in telling you that, you know, you're doing good or you're doing bad versus a spouse that may be a little bit less comfortable talking about it.
Yeah, that's true.
So that would be a game changer. So finding an accountability partner would be very important, especially if you're single listening to this too. So
yeah. Anything?
So I want to go back to the percentage thing and the sub accounts. I think those two go hand in hand because I want to talk about those together. We talked about them separately. So I think the sub accounts are a game changer, especially when you're doing the percentages of income that comes in. So you're moving that 20% from your income to your sub account. So now it's going from your main checking account to your wants account. And you may not spend that, let's say $200 out of the $1,000 every single month. So now that money's growing. So we have the way we manage our money is we have our family bank account. Everything goes to that family bank account. And then we have the savings account. And then the multiple savings account. Then we have our own
personal
accounts. So that's how we have sub accounts, and then our business accounts and tithing and all that other stuff. So everything comes into the main account, and then we have the family accounts, and then we have our own sub accounts, our checking accounts, where we spend our money the way we want to. So we get allowances every single month, and you may not. I don't spend my money every month, but you do.
I know
you do.
Well, I used to Jada. We probably should raise the amount of money that we get. Our allowance. Well, you don't like the word allowance, but I think it's fine. I think we should raise that amount. I remember we spoke about. I think we spoke about it on. I don't remember what podcast, but we only take out. Oh, I raised it this year. We only take out $300 a month for each of us.
$300 is a lot of money.
$300 is not a lot of money. I don't remember where we were speaking. They're like $300 a month. I'm like $300 a month. But if you think about it, we're together a lot. So
everything else is family.
Yeah, we're together a lot. So if we're going to like the restaurant, that's not coming from our personal accounts. That's coming from the family account. If we're going to Zara, we're shopping for a vacation. That's coming from the family account because we both in there. If you go by yourself, you may have to pay for it on your own. So little things like that, like things with doing our hair and nail grooming, that comes from the family account because we find that to be a necessity. Like that's not like we need our hair done. We need our haircuts, right? So some people could say, yeah, so that's what he says. But I still buy stuff. I buy like glasses or shoes. That type of stuff will come from our personal account.
That's why I got a lot of money in my personal account and she don't.
He does have a lot of money. I'd be like, I'm down to $50.
I ain't never under a couple thousand in my personal account.
You know how your grandparents, everybody tell you, child, you should have a little money on the side for you if you need to run away.
Nah, she ain't got nothing. She ain't running nowhere.
I'm taking me and the baby and going nowhere fast.
You got your mom.
I still got to use the family card.
You got your mom. You good.
Hilarious. But yeah, we probably need to raise that. But we only take out $300 a month for us because we do share a lot of the stuff in the family account, and the other, other account is supposed to just be fun money. But I've been needing more than $300 a month to have fun with the things I want to buy. So
what would be this goes back to that saver versus spender conversation. So how much would you like? How much should be in a?
I think maybe along the lines of eventually like $1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month to spend on
whatever I want.
Wow. That is a lot of money to me.
It could be anything. You just never know what I want. Do I need to spend $1,000 every month? Absolutely not. But then there may be a time like, okay, I got this big thing I want to purchase. Then it's like, I have the money there. If I ever want to buy a bag, I can't just buy a bag from my account.
So you have to have a gradual increase too. So that's another thing too, like lifestyle creep happens.
Yeah.
So that's one thing people always talk about is like the more you make, the more you spend, which is, I believe, is absolutely true. You got those people that say, oh, I make double the money and I don't spend much. All right, that's fine. But we aren't the people that's not going to.
Yeah. In relation to how much we make and how much we spend, I would say it's pretty low. However, it does creep up. I do agree with that as well.
And like, it may not be like a huge increase, but going from an apartment to a house, you may not realize that
that's a huge
our
increase.
mortgage may not be that much more money, but now the expenses are.
The expenses
we didn't have to pay
That's
water. We didn't have to pay ADT. We didn't have to pay this. We didn't have to pay that. We didn't have to pay lawn care. So all of those, when we go back to the budgeting expense category, what we were spending, it was like $1,800 a month in our apartment versus our mortgage. It's a huge difference. Not the actual mortgage, the actual housing expense category is a huge difference. Because people don't account for those actual housing expenses that have to be incurred when you actually buy a house or a home or whatever it may be.
Yeah,
so,
furniture, all those type of stuff.
So, anything else?
I had something, but then I forgot it. About spending when you had mentioned 1,000. When I had mentioned 1,000, I don't know.
Well, she ain't got it.
She ain't got it.
So hopefully you guys got some gain from this. Our goal was to continue that saver versus spender conversation, but more importantly, tell you guys how we spend and manage our money. And we didn't even talk about like investments.
We just said we save. We have investments everywhere, though. There's so many. We're diversified.
So no. We got to talk about that. I think it's very important because people like, how do you buy a property? How do you buy?
Well, that's all
you
different
start
conversation.
businesses?
I don't know if you could just have that on this episode.
Man,
how do you invest? That's its own podcast, don't you think?
I think so.
Yeah, I think that's hard too. Now, the investing is part of managing our money. Don't get me wrong, but I feel like that's a whole separate topic.
I agree. Let us know if you guys want to hear that.
Have people here for an hour and a half listening to that.
That's how we kind of create topics too. Is like we want you guys to figure out, what's important to you. What do you guys want to know? What do you guys want to learn about? Because remember, we only tell you from our perspective and what we've learned. It's not like we're talking from the outsider's perspective of something we haven't done.
Right. And we kind of have an idea what they want to know about based on the numbers that we get, the views that we get, right?
Yeah, that's a very important topic.
That's how we can gauge, I guess, or sometimes.
You guys getting very nosy when it comes to numbers. It's not a bad thing.
Topics I would think is going to be a hit and it's not, and something I'm like, why does this have so many, like, what is in this? Like, what do people want to hear with this conversation? What do we name this that made people want to
you guys let us know what you want to hear more about based on your views, based on your likes.
You guys love hearing about the cleaning business, which for us, we like talking about it, but I don't love it as much as you guys love it versus with the number.
Because we like to give the game. We want to give the full game. We don't want to half-ass the game. So you guys let us know what you want to hear more.
I don't know if you did a commercial break. Now's the time.
All right, so appreciate you guys tuning in. If you guys want to start or scale a 6 or 7 figure cleaning business without cleaning houses, you can check out Cleaning Business University, where we give you the A to Z curriculum on how you could do the same. Check it out. Link will be in the show notes, cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. Link will be in the bio. Link will be somewhere, cleaningbusinessuniversity.com. And also check out our official sponsor of the podcast, Melanin Money. They have a Melanin Millionaires Club where you could join. They also have melaninmoney.com where you could get the actual merch.
And use the word hustle for 15% off. Let them know we sent you.
Let them know we sent you. Link will be in the show notes as well. And if you guys are interested in being a sponsor on the podcast, we get over 3,000 views a month. So you could have your topic, you could have your product, your service advertised on the podcast. If you're interested in that, let us know. Shoot us a DM, shoot us an email. All of our information is below.
3,000 views on the podcast, but we also have an email list of over 20,000 people. We have an Instagram of over 30,000 people. So there's a lot of people being impacted by our voice.
If you want to get in front of this audience, and we also have to be aligned with what you're talking about too. So don't send us no BS, and we can be like, nah, we good. But
workout tea.
Workout tea. If it works, it works. If we working out, and we got.
I do work out a lot, but I don't drink no workout tea. So
if you guys are interested in sponsoring some episodes, let us know. We'll get you in front of 3,000 plus people. 30,000 on Instagram, 20,000 on email. We got numbers out here, man. Check it out.
Definitely.
Appreciate you guys being here every week.
Thank you once again. Make sure you subscribe, share, comment, love, all of the above. It helps us to continue to grow, helps us to have more eyes on us for sponsorships, for paid sponsorships. So thank you for those that have left a comment. We read your comments on the on the podcast live. So once again, thank you so much.
Helps us create more impact, influence, and income for you guys. So
bye-bye.
Peace.
This has been an episode of the Hartzog Hustle Podcast. We hope you enjoyed. Be sure to rate and review this podcast on your favorite listening platform. And follow Anthony and Jhanilka on Instagram at The Hartrimony. That's TheHartrimony. Keep hustling, baby. Keep hustling, baby.
Get that money. Get that money.